But the first one I want to start with is called Two Truths and a Lie. And the instructions are in the title. I'm going to write 2 truths up here, and I'm going to write 1 lie. And if you came in with questions for me, or something, by all means you can ask those. But at some point in the conversation, especially if you came in with nothing, maybe we can try to suss out which one is the lie. See what happens. And the worst part about all this is you can't see my face. That would really help you a lot. That's one of those weird human interaction things we just kind of evolved. So if you can't read it in the back, maybe don't sit all the way in the back. But I've been punched in the face before. Payne is not my real last name. And I married my high school sweetheart, which is kind of nice. She's pretty cool. So let's get started. Like I said, we can start wherever you like. We can start with some introductions, if you like, primarily because, as I said, I have not seen most of you before. It's up to you guys for the first little bit. What do you want to do? Take your time. We got plenty of it.
Well, I want to know everyone's name, so can we just say names?
Sure, we can do that. I'll start. My name's Tim Payne. Or is it? We can start here and we kind of go around. That's a good idea. Go for it, man.
My name is Levante. Born, like, I just go by Levante just because some people put the duh instead of love.
Well, you can kind of hear it that way too, you know, if you like said it fast. I get that. Okay.
My name is Tylia. Tylia with Ty and Princess.
Nice. I'm going to remember that very easily now. My son is a huge Star Wars freak. Huge.
My name is Alexander Poleski. The last name is Polish, like I go by Alex.
Cool.
My name's Jacqueline, but I go by Jackie. I spelled with 2 E's, not I.
Okay. Okay.
My name is Chris. Nothing special about that.
It's all good.
My name's Nadia.
Spelled wrong, right? On your
Yes.
birth certificate. I remember that from Thursday. That stuck with. That was like, that's weird, man. That's a strange.
I'm Olivia.
Nice to meet you.
Hey, I'm Mary Grace. You can call me Mary Grace, Mary, MG, whatever.
Well, I mean, usually, and I'm not trying to like guess your life, but like it's a Catholic thing, right? The Mary Grace? No?
I'm not Catholic.
Okay.
I go to church, but I'm not Catholic.
Okay. Well, a lot of the time that's where that tradition comes from. Is you
Yeah.
you pick your middle name, and oftentimes it's like Grace
Well,
or
I have
something.
a middle name too. Like Mary Grace is technically my first name. It's Mary Grace Joy Casey. So I have like 4 names.
That's a lot of names.
But Mary Grace is put together, but I like to space it out on the paper, so it's kind of confusing.
Yeah. Okay. I just learned something about you. Yes, ma'am.
My name's Nadia.
Hi. All right. Yes.
I'm Shannon.
Hi.
Hey,
Like-
I'm Jemiah.
Jemiah. Nice to meet you. All right. So we all know a little bit about each other. Let's get things started.
How hard was the punch?
How hard was the punch? They worked out, this person. They actually, if I remember, this is years ago. If I remember correctly, they ran like exercise classes, and it was a sucker punch too. It wasn't like a fight. I mean, there were some verbal disagreements proceeding, and I just sort of turned, and then I turned back, and there was a fist there.
What were you arguing about?
Okay. This person was, I wouldn't even call her an ex-girlfriend. We dated or whatever for a little bit.
When did y'all date?
before my wife, actually. That's what she was upset about.
So then it was after high school.
Not long after. But it was, I mean, I remember the conversation because, I remember this. Right when she said this, and I responded, she hit me in the face. She said, I can almost get it verbatim, I think. Oh, you just love her, you're going to move like away with her, and you're going to marry her. And I said, yes. Because that was the truth, as it turns out. And then I turned after I said that, and what? Right in the face.
Did you hit her back?
No.
Okay.
First of all, two things. If I had, I wouldn't be bringing this up. But no. Some part of me almost certainly wanted to, just because that's how you respond, I think, when somebody. But no, it was. I remember I was on break at work, like we were closing down. I worked in the kitchen. I went out back to have this discussion because she came in drunk and screaming, as you do, I guess. And I was like, man, I work here. You know, I looked at one of my buddies. I was like, I'm gonna be gone for like 10 minutes to figure this out, and I'll come back. We can't do that at my job, right? And that happened. And then I came back in. My shirt was torn because she grabbed it after she hit me, and my nose was bleeding. He's like, "How's it going?" I was like, "It's not going well, actually." So it was a weird day. Good questions. Other questions?
Were you adopted?
No. I feel like it sometimes. I'm the only person in my family without a Southern accent. My other, like, especially my mom and dad, like, hard Southern accent. Hard. I don't even say y'all. I felt weird saying it just now. I like to tell students, I read my way through the twang. I read so much as a kid. That prescriptivist sort of pronunciation, I think I read so much of it and knew when I was younger what like proper English was, the way it should be pronounced, that I read my way out of it. Like there's whole movies from when I was a kid where I definitely had it. I read my way out of it. It's kind of weird. But no, I'm not adopted. I don't think.
Did you go with both of your parents? Like your biological parents?
Do I know?
Did you go with both of your biological parents?
Until I was about 10 or 11. And then they got divorced. Which, by the way, was a good decision. I know that people don't say that a lot, but like, my parents should not be together, like in the same room. Yes?
So what is your mother's maiden name?
Gordon, with a D, which is a hideous name.
Did your mother get remarried?
Yes. Yes. To a gentleman named Chastain. And he was all right, but he had to deal with me and my sister post-divorce, which they made movies about. Maybe you've seen them. It doesn't go that way. People don't love each other usually by the end. It's not like, oh, you're all right. It's like, you're not my dad. And then stuff happens. It's pretty grim, yeah. You know. No. No. Just Chastain was his name. He bought me a PlayStation
I like this game.
at the end. Yeah, it's all right. Yeah. I remember one day, right before he left, he bought me a PSX, which is the technical name for a PlayStation 1. It had a little screen on it. You guys aren't as old as I am, but an old PlayStation 1 with a screen that folds up. He bought me that as a parting gift, which is cool. An ex-girlfriend took it. That's life. Yes?
How old are you and?
How old am I?
Yeah, and how
Like
old is
now?
your mom? Yes, right now.
I'm 34,
Okay.
and she is 33.
How long have y'all been married?
Oh, I'm bad at that. No, you're gonna get me in trouble. This is on tape. Hang on. I gotta try real hard. I'm bad at math and I'm bad with dates. Those are two real things that could also be up here. Okay. We got married when we were in the master's program here. So, oh shit, hang on. Man, I'm gonna ballpark. No, that's not what you asked. I'm real bad. It's over 10 years. 12? I think it's 12. I feel good about 12.
Did y'all meet here in the master's program?
No, we're high school sweethearts. Oh, good catch.
Tyler and Mike was in union.
What?
How old were you when you guys met?
You're asking about high school. First of all, I have to be very careful talking about high school with you guys. And I don't remember high school very well. For reasons that I'm not going to go into. But it was a very long time ago. Half a lifetime ago, actually. So yeah, probably around 16, 17. But I think I mentioned this to the Thursday group. When she started here, she was a nursing major. And then she switched to philosophy because she didn't like nursing, as it turns out. But her mom was one, so I guess she thought that's what she should do. I was always an English major. We had a few classes together, but then we both stayed here for the master's program. And then I followed her to Alabama. Yeah, worked out pretty well, or it has so far.
What's your wife's maiden name?
Potter.
Like Harry Potter?
She got a lot of that. That was real big when we were middle school, high school. So like, yeah, she got that hundreds of times. So the short answer to that is yes. Yes, guys. And again, I wanted to give you something to go on, but you can ask me other things. I mean, it's up to you, you know.
Where are her parents from, your mom?
My wife's parents,
Like,
Her-
where do they live? Where do they live? Where do they live?
oh, they live in Carrollton. They're watching my son right now, actually. Yeah, because his school doesn't start until Thursday. But originally, I may have, all my classes are blurring together this past week and a half. Both her parents are from Alabama. I don't remember, her mother's from Florence, wherever the hell that is. Her dad is from, we go there sometimes for like holidays. My wife's grandparents live on a farm, like a legit farm out. Only 2 years ago they got cell service out there. Like it's like out there. That's where her dad is from. I couldn't tell you the name of the place.
I went to school in Florence last year.
Cool. I know she's from there. I think she was born somewhere else in Alabama, but I know that she like my mother-in-law went to like high school or something over there.
How old were you when you asked your wife out on a date?
I mean, again, you're talking high school. It was right around 16, something like that.
Did
16,
you do
17.
any activities in high school?
Did I do any activities? What does that mean?
Like, did you play any sports or?
I played basketball, not for the school, because I was very like anti-establishment. But I'm like 6'3". I was in better shape when I was in high school. So yeah, I played basketball. She was a cheerleader, but you can't really do that like not with a school, as far as I know. So. A lot of video games. That's not really what you asked. A lot of video games.
So you asked her out at 16, and then y'all broke up, and then you got punched in the face by that girl, and then y'all met again in college.
No. I'm saying I was working at that like kitchen or whatever from about 18 till, was I 18 at the time? God, I moved out when I was 18, and I was working there before I moved out. Yes. Anyway, ballpark it out. I was working there since I was 18 until I was about 20. God, early 20s. Anyway, no, but again, I dated this girl before that, which is why I was surprised she showed up because I hadn't talked to her in a hot minute, and I think she'd caught wind somehow that we were gonna move out together, my wife and I, and she apparently didn't appreciate that. It's kind of cool though. When you get punched in the face, you're really upset, which I think is standard. But then afterwards, like, that wasn't so bad. I can take a punch, you know? Good for me. Type of thing. I wouldn't want to do it again, but, you know.
Do you play the instruments?
Before I had children,
Okay, what?
I used to be pretty decent on the guitar. Those days are gone. I mean, I bought an acoustic like a year ago. I was like, I'll pick it back up. It was the summer, and then school started. My kids got more in my hair, and I was like, oh, I don't have time for anything. I also have a couple synthesizers.
Okay.
Some people don't consider those instruments with good reason, but I play them rarely.
So what skill level did you get to with the guitar?
I was pretty good. I had calluses. You know, I could play some songs. I couldn't like play by ear or anything. I wasn't like one of those people, but I did what a lot of lame people in high school and then a little bit post high school do. I was in like a couple bands, you know, that sort of thing.
What is your wife's last name?
Potter. I mean, that's her
What
maiden
about
name.
now?
Payne.
So if Payne isn't your real last name, then what is?
That's the name I have.
Is it one of your middle names for your own legal reason?
I'm trying hard to figure out your question. My name is Timothy Daniel Payne. Daniel is my dad's first name, and then Payne.
What is your wife's name?
It's like the third time. Her full name? I don't know how middle names work when you get married.
Just first and last name.
Because Anna Payne is her name.
Anna?
Yeah, she teaches her. Are you looking her up? Okay. She's much more photogenic than I am.
Okay, so what's your biological parents' last name?
Oh, okay. Payne.
Okay, and what's his dad's last name?
Payne.
And what's
I
the-
get where the questions are coming from. Yeah, what's up?
I was just,
Oh, okay. Oh, you got a hand?
So what are your parents' occupations? Like, what do they do for a living?
It's kind of hard. I'm not very close with my folks. My mom does something. She works at home, which is super convenient with, you know, everything that's happened. She works for some kind of like paper company. Like, they don't sell paper. I think they sell. All right, so you have people that publish magazines, and then you have stores that those magazines get to. But what you may not know, I didn't really know this. There's all these middlemen companies that get the shit and put it in the stores. And my mom works for one of those, and she's in charge of like a bunch of stores. And like, you need bullshit magazines? They're like, yeah. And she makes sure they get over there, basically. And my dad has worked in heating and air for fucking ever. He's really good at it. My dad's really good with his hands. Not so good with interpersonal relationships with like his children, but really, really good. Like if something breaks, he is on it, which is helpful. We'll do this for a few more minutes. I don't want to torture you guys with this too much.
Okay. Are your parents, are they still together? Like your parents' parents still together?
My parents' parents?
Yeah, like.
My grandparents?
Yeah.
Okay. Are they all dead? I know, I didn't mean to. I'm trying to think. I think they're all dead. Yeah. I'm pretty sure they're all dead.
So were they married? Like your grandparents?
At one point.
So.
Like you're saying, did they divorce?
Yeah.
Yes. All my grandparents divorced.
Okay. So.
Kind of a fucked up tree we're trimming, huh?
So did your grandmother ever remarry?
Which one?
Oh, your side, like your mom's side.
Okay. No.
Okay, well, like your dad's side.
3 times.
Okay. Is one of them last name Payne?
Oh, am I? Okay, because I know I'm tracking grandparents. Yeah. Like one of my grandparents was named Payne, is that what you're saying?
Like, on your dad's side, like, was one of the men that she remarried, was their last name Payne?
Oh. Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Alright.
He looked like Santa Claus. I played Little League football, and whenever he would show up, all the kids would freak out. Like, big bushy white, long hair, big bushy white beard. It'd be September. Like, dude, Santa is here. Like,
So that was your dad's stepdad?
yes.
Okay.
What was the name of the girl that punched you in the face?
Jeanette. I'm not gonna give last names. I don't want people to. Yeah, but again, she was in really good shape. She, I want to say, taught. I mean, several classes in a gym, but one of them was like a kickboxing type. I didn't think she was gonna punch me. To be totally honest, I got some shit for it, and I was like, I was not expecting. That's what a sucker punch is.
I thought you said she did running classes.
She did what classes?
Didn't you say she ran? Did like running classes?
No, she ran like
Oh.
exercise class. Like she was
Oh,
in charge
right,
of.
okay.
Yeah, she's the person at the front. Be like, does that person ever get tired? And it's like, nah, that was her. Yeah, she got me square in the face too. I'm sure it made her feel better. I guess I don't know. I love the little, because you were hardcore on the last name one. Like I can see you back there Zodiac killering it, like strings and shit. And you guys are, that table right there is kind of bouncing back and forth between the other two. We'll do a few more.
Did you start out with your mom's last name?
No. My mom, until she remarried, her last name was Payne. Like my whole life anyway. She was Gordon at some point, you know, before she met my dad. Which again, is a hideous last name.
Yeah.
We good? Anybody got anything else? I want to stand here with dead air. I'll give you guys another shot if you want one. Okay. We're calling it? Okay. Well, what do you guys think?
I think your last name really is Payne, and that's the lie that you said it's not your real last name.
Okay. I'm gonna try not to. I'm gonna let you guys give your responses before I give the big reveal, I guess. What are some of you other guys think?
I agree with you.
The second one? Okay. What if they were all true? Wouldn't that be evil?
Hopefully you can do
I did not cheat. I did not cheat. But I did think about it. I was like, God, it'd be such a screwed up thing to do. Like, you would never trust me. What do you think?
I don't think you married your high school sweetheart.
You don't think what now?
I don't think you married your high school sweetheart.
Okay. Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
You said the last
I
one?
feel like you had your high school sweetheart and feel like you're regretting with who you're with now.
You're reading some weird stuff into my life right now. Not least of which because I'm married with 2 kids and
It's like you got 2 kids.
my wife works here.
Oh yeah, and it's on video. Okay. You can do that.
Where's her office at?
Where's what?
Where's her office at?
She is in the TLC.
Can I go to the bathroom?
Can you do what?
I said, can I go to the bathroom?
You can. She's on the West Georgia. Like she's here.
Yeah, but I'm gonna ask her in person.
Her last class. I don't want you guys stalking my family. She gets out at 12:15, and I start at 12:30. So there's like a transit, which is why her parents are at my house right now with our son until he starts school. But yeah, so she's gone right now. She's at home. Did you look her up?
I can find her on Facebook. You want her?
Facebook. You go to the West Georgia. You go to the West Georgia English faculty directory. She's
Yeah,
there.
but what is that gonna say about your, like in high school? Like I was gonna say.
It's not, but I just, it's funny because when I said, "Are you looking her up?" I thought it's where you went.
No.
At no point was I like, "Well, she's just trying to find her Facebook."
Could've just emailed her.
Our Facebooks, most teachers' Facebooks are private because we don't want students finding us. Like
Yeah,
that's,
but like what if you have a friend? How are they supposed to find you?
I don't want anybody finding me, to be honest with you.
Um,
My stuff is friend of friends, but I only use Facebook to see pictures my wife posts of our kids. That's all. I don't give a shit about it. Yeah.
I don't think you've been punched in the face.
Okay.
By that girl.
But I could definitely see where someone would punch you, just not a girl, is what you're saying?
No, like just the story doesn't make sense to me.
Okay.
Did your Facebook not load 'cause your last name not Payne?
What happened?
Did your Facebook not load 'cause your last name's not Payne? It's just like a school cover.
I think I see what you're saying. No, again, mine and hers and most teachers I know keep their Facebooks like somehow private, like friend to friend or totally private, because you don't want students finding you. You just don't want that.
I'm gonna go with the last one, not because I don't think that you're happily married, but just because I just filled out in my gut.
Well, I appreciate that at least, because that was pretty rough.
Yeah.
We use process of elimination. Alright.
Okay.
I feel
I
like
don't think it's the last one anymore, it's just because it's on video, and nobody gonna do that to their relationship.
Fair.
I feel like the second one is false. Like it wouldn't be correct to lie about your last name in any professional context.
I didn't say I lied. I never said that.
Well, like what I mean is like it says Payne is your last name on like your UWG
Yeah.
page, and
Are you implying I'm like a fugitive or something?
Shoot, I am, man.
I think you can punch in the face.
Are y'all ready for them to tell us the real?
What happened?
I was asking if they were ready for you to tell us the real answer.
I think we're about there. I mean, is anybody else want to like say what they think it is or have another question? Everybody feels good? Okay. Also, do me, I just thought of this, do me a favor. I'm filming it for anybody who's not here, but I'm not going to post this until after Thursday's class. So like, I mean, real talk, because if you share this with Thursday, you're just going to ruin it for them. It'll be over in like 5 minutes and it'll suck. All right. I have been punched in the face.
Alright.
And it pretty much, it went down exactly how I told you guys it went down. She showed up to my job. She was obviously under the influence of something. I walked her out back just to get her the hell out of my job. And yeah, she socked me right in the face.
The slap.
No, fucking
Punch.
punched me in the face. Just good form too. Like, just turned her hips. She taught classes for like 5, so I just didn't think, yeah, she punched me in the face. Payne is not my real last name. My father, whose last name is Payne, was legally disowned by his father when he was a teenager because my biological grandfather is a monster. So my real last name, in that sense, is Norton, I think, which is also a gross name. Gross. I'm not saying Payne is great, but like any Norton, Gordon, all those, it's disgusting. So, yeah. When my father's mother remarried, dude's name was Payne, he legally adopted my dad because he's Santa Claus. And that's how I have that name. I did not marry my high school sweetheart. I didn't have a high school. I mean, I dated some people in high school, but like I never had a. I met my wife here during the master's program. I met her during the master's program, and then I followed her to Alabama for more degrees, and then we got married, and then we came back here. So that one was the lie.
High five.
But you didn't say that one. You went back to.
Yeah, you changed, I stuck to it.
Hey, I changed by initiative.
All right. We're going to talk about that process. It's not really my life anymore. We could avoid that. It'd be fine. So, what do we do just now? Now, again, it's not entirely fair to maybe compare our process to something like some of the things Katie Kirk pointed out, again, because her whole thing was she knows these people up front. I gave you this information, and then I was like, go. And that, you know, so it's a little different in that regard. But if you try to go back, and this, honestly, at some point when I post this, it might be worth watching some snippets of our interview just to see what you might have said or didn't say. You know, if you had a question and you didn't ask it, and now you're like, oh, I should have asked that. These are good thoughts to have. Like, for this week, and I guess next week too, we're going to do a thing. I want you to think about the process of an interview. I said in the first class, one of the foundations of self-staging is sort of prep you for the professional world in a way, and we are thinking about that. But it's 2020. This class was designed like in the early 2000s. Like, it's at a point now where things are changing, right? And I don't know how valuable it would have been. Like, what we would have done traditionally is I would have sat here and you guys would have like job interviewed me. For what job, first of all? And what expertise do you have to interview, no offense, me for a job? It makes no sense. Bananas. Another exercise you would have done, I just want to give you an example. I would have you guys basically talk to me about a thing for a minute, right, in a video, and then you would have to go back and watch that video and write down how many times you said And again, I understand why, but no one gives a shit anymore. No one gives a shit, or very few people do. So we're trying to do something a little bit different, which brings me to what we did now. It's more fun, first of all. But secondly, you think about the world we're headed into very quickly all of a sudden. And it seems like more and more, I'm not telling you to be totally unprofessional, especially depending on wherever you end up a couple years from now. But there does seem to be this push for like a lack of artifice. Do you guys know what artifice is? Okay, yeah, I was trying to think of a different word. Artifice, that's comes from art. Same idea. It's a made thing. It's false in some way. Like if you ever meet somebody, just when you're out, and you're like, that's a fake motherfucker, right? Because they're artificial. They have some level of artifice. We don't like that. That comes across in even job interviews, to take it all the way back to what this class was originally, right? More and more, we don't appreciate being knowingly lied to, right? And so, granted, I told you I was lying to you, but I was upfront about it. And even with that particular line of questioning when you guys asked me, but also the other ones, I tried to be as transparent as I felt like I could. And I tried to kind of show you what I'm going to talk about for the next couple weeks, which is one of those buzz phrases, lateral thinking, okay? It's all this idea of connecting dots. For instance, my bread and butter, I went to Alabama to study poetry. I know a lot about creative writing. I've taught it a bunch, I've done it a bunch. Any good creative piece, poem, story, whatever, it comes from a person who's a good liar. A good lie is all about details. That's all it is. So when you guys were asking me about the lie, I would sprinkle in some stuff that was true, because it wasn't totally untrue. I am married. I do enjoy the marriage. But a big part of what I told you was untrue, so I had to forge some connections there, kind of make sure I didn't have any logical lapses, which you guys were looking real hard for. And that's the lateral thinking we're going to really work on here for the next few weeks. It's the sort of thing, again, what we would have done in past classes would have been something like, if you're in a job interview and you get a question you're not prepared for, the last thing you want to show is that you're not prepared for that, right? So you could also think of it as being light on your feet in a way, but it's managing your speech. I guess it's a weird way to put it, but anyway, it's another way to think of it. You'll hear this too: extemporaneous speaking. Like right now, just being able to fucking talk, right, in a way that keeps making sense. We don't all have those muscles, so that's what we're going to work on. Okay. It's also weird because I'm filming. I normally use my phone to time myself. I have no idea what time it is. Okay. There's a couple things I want you guys to do, and part of what we're about to do is to prep for what I'm going to have you do next week. Okay? All right. For a couple minutes, because I talked to you enough, I'm going to have you do a thing. For a couple minutes, well, whenever I was put on the spot as a student, I would freeze. All right, we're going to talk for just a second. I'll let you guys talk. I want you to think, if you had maybe a magic wand or one of those big checks they give out at sweepstakes, if you had a way to get one celebrity, living or dead, that you could interview for 10 minutes, who would it be? Take a minute to think about it. We're going to talk about it because some people might not have somebody. Take a minute to think about it. You got one?
Can it be a character? Or does it have to be like an actual like person?
Fair question. Yes. Yes. Who? Okay, okay. We'll think about it for a minute and we'll talk about it. I wasn't prepared for that question. Anybody got anybody? 'Cause I'm struggling too, actually. Yeah, what's up?
Probably Robin Williams.
Robin Williams. That's a really, god damn it, dude. That's a good one. Do you mind if I ask why?
Yeah, he's like just a very like funny but charismatic guy. You know, he's
Yeah.
full of a lot of life, a lot of inspiration, and a lot
Sure.
of knowledge.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's a lot you could probably learn from.
Sure. Well, you get the sense too. I mean, granted, like tragic end, obviously, but you get the sense maybe through his performances in a way that like he seemed like he seemed like an interesting dude, and like yeah, that's such a good. Damn it, I didn't think about that at all. Okay. Wow. That's a weirdly high bar. Let's have a few more, if you don't mind. Because I wanted to give you an example for me, and I'm struggling actually. It says something about you, right? Like we're all going to secretly judge you with who you like. Oh, that one sucks. That person sucks. Anybody else have one? Oh no. I thought you guys would be quicker. Really?
I would probably choose Amelia Earhart just because I've always wondered how she died while she was going around the world.
You're very focused. And that's not a bad thing. Okay. Mystery, sure.
I watched a documentary on her the other day, so
Yeah, I mean,
that helps.
It's very interesting, yeah. But see, your interview would be super short then, right? Like, so what happened?
Well, now I can talk about how she took the steps in her life and why she.
Sure, okay. But would you be doing that just so she wouldn't feel bad that you really...
No. I mean, I'd like to know how a woman who didn't have as
Fair.
many opportunities as me made her way up the ladder.
Good,
To get what she had.
good save. You kind of put me on my place for that answer, right? You're like, no, asshole. That's good.
A lot nicer. I was a
No, but that was well done. Good job. Okay. Two good answers. Two very different, but good answers. All right. We've had a little bit of time with that. We've had some examples. I think pretty wide-ranging examples. If you do not have somebody, take like 20 seconds and think of somebody. Go. You don't have to share it. Does everybody have somebody? Okay. Even if it's Dom, that's who you got now. Okay? Okay. Next thing I want you to do, we're going to take a couple minutes. I want you to write. I'll say as many questions as you can think of. You don't have to go crazy, but like write what questions would you ask that person or character? What do you want to know? You'll start with some obvious stuff, but as you keep writing, see where your train of thought goes, right? You might go some places. So take a couple minutes, see what you come up with. All right. Hopefully you have, if not a sizable list, at least a couple questions that could, maybe get you started. Now, unfortunately, at least for most of us, I imagine, it's unlikely we're going to be able to ask those questions to that person, whoever it might be. There's all kinds of reasons for that are pretty obvious. However, part of your homework for the next time we meet, which is a week, so you got some time, I want you to actually interview a person. And ideally, this would be a person that you feel like you know reasonably well, okay? So it could be a friend if you want it to be, but, all right, well, the two stipulations I'll give you. Somebody you know, like, at least pretty well, but also somebody you actually want to know more about, okay? And I say it that way because back when I had friends, again, marriage and kids, man, you don't have a life after that. Gonna have to delete that from the video. Anyway, back when I had friends, I can only think of a few I would want to do this assignment with. There's plenty more I had that were like cool to hang around in different ways, but like, I don't actually want to know you now that I think about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so whoever it is, if it's a buddy, if it's a parent, if it's a grandparent, if it's, whoever, I would like you to have some kind of rapport to begin with, because that's going to help you in that Katie Kirk sort of way of having a sense of who they are, how they might respond, and then you can forecast a little bit. You could write more questions if you like. The other thing you're going to need to do, though, before you talk to that person, is kind of revisit the questions you have. And we may need to workshop some of these real quick, but like, for instance, the example I came up with, if I were to interview LeBron James, which is never going to happen, but if he was around, I'd ask him something, One of those questions would probably be, hey man, just like, I know you've probably answered this in a way before, but like, if you could really, just in a couple sentences, like, what does it feel like to work your whole life and like win the NBA championship, right? Like, I know you're gonna say it feels awesome, but like, that dude worked his whole life to be who he is professionally. What does it feel like to actually accomplish that after 20 years or whatever, right? It's gotta be crazy. I would ask him that. Now, if I was in your position though, I'm not gonna go ask my mom, Mom, what does it feel like to win the NBA championship? She probably doesn't know. And she would just say, what the fuck are you talking about? So, I'd have to find some kind of corollary. Either something I know about in my mom's life, or I would phrase it in a way like, of all your accomplishments, what's the one that you are either most surprised by or just feel like the most proud of, right? And why? Because maybe that's her NBA Finals, whatever it is, So it depends on whomever you choose. But the questions you have, some of them might work, a lot of them probably won't, at least the way that they are. But I want you to skew them, change them, to work for that person. Okay? And we have a little bit of time left, so some of you are making changes right now, which is great. Are there any questions anybody has for the person you might be thinking about, where right now you're like, I don't know how to fix that? Because we could help you. Everybody feels good about your list, whatever it is?
So the questions we have for the celebrity, you're wanting us to like alter it a little bit?
Yeah.
To fit?
Yeah.
So I don't need to make just new questions I don't need to just make up new questions for him.
You can make up more.
Okay.
Like, this is just to get you started. It's a weird kind of
Okay.
exercise. Because you'd be surprised sometimes with whatever you came up with. You're like, oh, that does work for like a whole different question for this person, Yeah. So there's none that are troubling anybody? Everybody feels good about what they have? Yeah.
So the questions I asked were like for a specific person. I don't think these would apply to any of my family or friends.
Can you give us one?
I was gonna interview Lemony Snicket or Daniel Landler, and I asked like, why does he use a pseudonym as his name? Because his real name is Daniel Landler, but he goes by Lemony Snicket. I don't think I could ask.
You can change that. Who are you thinking of interviewing?
don't know.
All right, for example, let's say it was your mom. That could be anybody. Hey, Mom, if you could change your life, if you could, because a lot of times, like, that's what a name is your identity in a way, right? If you could be a totally different person, live in a totally different place. I'm not saying you would, Mom. I know you love us. That's what you have to say. But if you could, what would it be? Where would you go? What would you do? Would your mom, you might find out some real shit. My mom wanted to be a cage fighter. You don't know. There's all kinds of ways you can take, whatever it is you come up with. Any other issues with your questions? Okay. Well, if you have issues, obviously you can ask me. All right, let me make sure I give you all the proper instructions for this. Oh yeah, we got time. Okay. So again, I'm going to talk about homework because this is related to that, but it's not like we're necessarily going to go right after that. I just want to make sure we do this. So, your homework, I think it says it's due by the end of this week. If you can't get it done right by the end of the week, that's fine, right? Given what I'm asking you to do. But I want you to interview that person, whoever it is. And it needs to be somebody you can get in touch with, okay? You would think that doesn't have to be said, but it does. Talk to this person for, 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes. Anything past 10 minutes, I'm telling you, is going to feel like an eternity. You're like, I don't know what else to say. I would also advise you to record it in some way because, first of all, I'm not going to ask for that recording. Whoever you're interviewing, that's between you and them. I'm not going to ask for that. Okay, this is for you. But we're going to have a little bit of an assignment. For this week, the interview write-up that might help with. But also there's going to be a reflection for next week that will definitely help with. So record it. If it's just voice on your phone, if you want to film them, let them know first. People don't like to be surprised by that. But again, I'm not going to ask for it, so you don't have to give that to me. It's for you. Yes?
We also write the interview down using Google documents or.
Can you do what now?
Well, just like write the interview down with the.
Sure. Whatever you like. Because the record of it, again, is for you. So whatever is going to work best for you. I will say a lot of people like journalistic interviews, a lot of the time, they'll take notes, but they'll also record it just, because you miss stuff. Or maybe somebody, you notice later the way either you say a thing or the way they respond, just even in terms of their tone, you're like, oh, I thought they meant this, but now listening back to it, I think they actually meant it this way. But it's up to you. But yeah, I would recommend recording it in some way. Lost where I was. Okay. So yeah, I want you to perform that interview with that person. You will then, for homework, again, by the end of this week, do the interview write-up. There's instructions on Coursed-In, which I could read to you, but it's basically 500 words, which some people feel that's not a lot. I promise you, it's not a lot of words. And it's just, how do you think it went? We all have expectations, depending on whomever you're talking to. Again, if you go talk to your mom and you find out you want to be a cage fighter, you'd be very surprised, I would imagine, right? Anything like that. But not just in terms of information. Did the conversation go to a place that you didn't foresee, especially when you go back and look at your recording, whatever it might be? Was it a line of questioning you introduced that did that, or did they elaborate on something and then you chimed in with something else and that steered it? Basically what I'm asking you to do in the write-up is go back, and I wish there was a better metaphor, but perform an autopsy on your interview. You have an idea of how it's going to go now. You're going to see how it goes when it's over. But there in the middle of it, you can't stop and think about it, right? You drive yourself insane. So I want you to go back after the fact, look at that recording, whatever it is, and say, okay, can I figure out how we got here, or how I learned that information? What were the movements in the conversation that made that happen? That's what I want you to talk about in the write-up. that make sense? Enough sense? Okay. What else? I guess that's pretty much it.
So if we're running late on getting that information, just email you.
Yeah. I mean, again, ideally you use somebody that you could get in touch with like reasonably soon, you know. And it's due Saturday by midnight, so I mean,
That's a lot of time.
yeah, no, I mean, well, because too, I'm giving this assignment to my Thursday crew, they have less time. But even, I mean, I keep using like, you have not said it's going to be your mother, but if you interview your mom, like, I would hope you'd be like, Mom, can I talk to you for 10 minutes before Saturday night? I'm saying, I'm like, try your best to find somebody like that. But if something comes up, by all means, I can give you a couple more days or whatever, you know, not a big deal. Yes, ma'am.
In the instructions, it says, could you or I have done things better in some way, or is that talking about you or the people interviewing?
Oh, wait, was I talking about the wrong assignment? Oh, shit, I think I was talking about the wrong assignment. That's why I should have called it something other than interview, shouldn't I? Oh, no. Good catch. Okay, here's what I think just happened.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I gave you guys the instructions from my brain for the homework next week. That's what happened. Yes. Okay. What I just said for the past 7 minutes or so, forget that. Don't forget it totally, but it's not super important to you. Here's what actually needs to happen. Yeesh. Okay. You have a little more time to do that interview, as it turns out. I thought that was, the whole time I'm saying it, I'm like, man, that isn't a lot of time. Why would I do that? I didn't. The interview reflection, that's the instructions I just gave you. That's due by the end of next week. So you got plenty of time on that. You basically have almost 2 weeks to do that interview and reflect upon it. That's what I was just talking to you about. So sorry. The interview write-up is much easier. That's talking about our little thing today. Yeah. Damn it. Sorry. Basically, Andrew, and look, I'm going to post this toward the end of the week, so Thursday class doesn't see it. So there will be a recording if you need it. But what I'm asking for that is actually, I'm trying to make sure I don't screw this up again now and say the wrong thing. It's sort of a precursor to the interview reflection, which you're going to do. I just want you thinking about the tone we sort of struck in that interview. For instance, if I'm thinking about it now, I feel like I was pretty... Do you guys know what cavalier means? No? Okay. Cavalier is a nicer way of maybe saying like not super professional, right? And again, you know, I talked to you guys at least a little bit about why I wanted to do it that way. But I basically, and again, there's instructions on course to do a better job than I just did because I gave you the wrong one. But I want you thinking about how the interview today went. Some of you, I felt like at the end of it, were kind of kicking yourselves for like questions you could have asked or the conclusions you drew. Why did you draw those conclusions? Did you need more information and you just didn't find a way to get it out of me? You know, God, I'm glad you asked that question. I feel like such an ass now. All right. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Sorry. Jesus.
But we still need to interview that person for the next week.
But that's due by the end of next week.
Okay.
Yeah, which makes way more sense.
And so this Saturday is the interview write-up for today.
For the thing we just did, yeah.
And it's 500 words, you said?
In
Or does it
the
matter?
ballpark. Are you in this class?
Is that 302?
At what time? Oh, we'll be out in just a minute.
Okay.
All right.
So,
Yes.
these updated instructions you posted on the course then?
The instructions are on course. Coursera is doing a weird thing this semester. I'm sure they updated it because they thought it looked nicer. You can't see the instructions until you click on the assignment,
Okay.
which is not helpful.
So,
what I said to you at first, like where I was just talking for like 5+ minutes, that's for next week.
I see.
I totally screwed that up. I think honestly, it's just a much more interesting assignment. So my brain was like, we'll just do that one. And yeah, what we talked about just now about,
The true truth or not.
yeah, reflecting on that process, how it went, that's what's due this week.
So the instructions that are posted aren't updated yet for the one we're supposed to do this week, correct?
They should be.
Oh,
They're on there, right?
Yeah, they're on there, it's for, he just mixed it up in class.
I mixed it up in my head.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah, everything's correct on course 10. My head just, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's better to be safe than sorry.
Sure, sure. Did you have a question, ma'am?
No, you didn't.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. I'll see you in a week.